The exhibition, it's, let's say, a trip on the story of Houston for me. So I'm trying to bring back some stories and histories from the past, using the echo and the resonance of the cistern, which is very particular because it lasts a lot. So having that as a point of departure, I weave different moments of the history of the city through the evocation and working with musicians from here. We found the way to, in a poetical way, describe how the past was and how the future can be. So the exhibition, Lifeblood, takes the story of the bayous as the navigating port for telling the story of a city. There are several ways of understanding or taking look of the bayous, and I was interested in understanding how the city looks like in the past, before the bayous were getting dragged for bringing the ships in. So there's, in a way, there's 4 chapters that are the line of the whole story, which is the past of the nature and the peoples that used to navigate in this land. Then it comes the moment of the destruction of the nature, the stories from labor and abuse, and then modernity. I mean, the water always brings stories. The water has been there in the shape of, or in the line of a river, and it's constantly moving when we take care of it and when it's free for run. So water brings history within, and it brings sound when it's a healthy body of water. So I like to think about ways of embracing water or bring the water into the stories to just make it run like a free river. I think so, yes. And this city, well, the city is founded because of the bayous, and it has a relation with the way the infrastructure has been built, with a lot of mistakes in a way that happens to be bad decisions for the city itself. So if a city or something is built very near the waterways, then the water return and take the city off. So that's part of the whole panorama that I wanted to tell through some pieces from archive and the specific stories that I found during the research. Well, it's always like that. I mean, serendipity is all over, and it may be related with the fact that I am not an academic researcher. I call myself like an empirical searcher. And when I jump into an archive or a library or a book or whatever, when I start to research, I start with an idea, but I let myself run in different directions, and that's where the chance encounter happen with the research and also with the people I work with. I mean, in a conversation, in the middle of a conversation, someone brings in a concept that it was not part of the beginning, but I let myself go in and follow other lines. And it's as the rivers as well, that they just grow and they keep running in different directions. Well, it's more based in an intuition. So, for example, the core of this project is the video installation, and that was, the beginning of that idea, the moment it just appeared in front of me was in my first visit to Houston, that I walked with Stephen for first time into the cistern. So I just entered the space, that cathedral, and I just was so amazed of the engineering itself, the fact that it looks like a constant reflection. It's like it has a second floor all over there. It's even like it's like magic. It's chasing you, the same architecture, and the water, it's creating this mirror that makes the space such like I can't describe with words. I was like speechless. And then when I spoke, and I heard that my voice was like traveling all over and returning after 18 seconds or more, was like, here is the heart of the story. I need to use this resonance to talk about the past time. So that was very intuitive, and is how it worked. And then I started digging in the story of the Bayou. We had a very beautiful walk with Vinod, and he told us the story of the Allen's yard and trade, and the way he described the Houston beginnings and everything was kind of a movie. He was a storyteller. That's why we decided also to dedicate the exhibition to his memory, because he was very inspiring for me, and the way he connects with his city, because he knows the city pretty well. And it's not my city, so it's always challenging to arrive to a place, which is a new place for me, and tell a story to the people who lives in that city, something that is part of their everyday. And how can I surprise them with some founds? So I think I need to let myself to connect in non-academical ways and more, and let me return and correct and do that kind of negotiations. And in this moment, there's many things about the exhibition that I don't know yet, because it's so recent that probably I will know during the months that pass. When the months pass, I will make new connections with myself and the research and the pieces itself, the project itself. Oh yes, my work is nothing without collaboration. So let's say that the third is research, the other, everything is working in collaboration directly with the actors that are part of the projects. And in this case, of course, the musicians are the main part of this collaboration, but also the person who hand-carved the canoe, and also the collaboration with the weavers from Oaxaca that create the textiles. So there's many layers, but in the case of the video specifically, it was a interesting way of collaborating, a new way of working with musicians, because sometimes there's always the connection through the composer, because I'm not a musician myself. So in this case, because David, Anthony, Sonia, and Gabriel are musicians that usually improvise themselves, and also Mecca and Brandon, which are the singers, but they also work with improvisation. So they felt very comfortable in experimentations. So I gave them the story, the particular story of each of the chapters, and then I provide a series of words which were connected with a specific chapter, and they create a piece based on that, but as an act of improvisation. And that freedom, and also the fresh I don't know how to explain that, but it just happened in the cistern. There were no rehearsals, so that was very amazing. Yeah, when we put all together, it becomes a sound piece that probably they will hear for first time tomorrow, because they play their own parts but never together. So this is just like a way of bringing everything in one only. Theoretical physicians, see? Físicos teóricos at CERN. I mean, they are, I thought, I'm going to have a conversation with a scientist. Probably they have to be super square and a lot of rigor, and not at all. They were super creative, and at the end of the conversation is, we don't know what we are doing. We need to imagine. Everything is a wonder. We're just imagining what we believe would happen. So it was pretty inspiring. I really wanted to do works, like a manual works that were coming forward with the 4 chapters of the video. So we have one element that travels in time, literally, which is the canoe, and is the one that goes through navigating the cistern and navigating between time. So the canoe is present in the installation. And so if the canoe is here, the canoe needs to navigate somewhere. So for me, it was very interesting to bring the visual representation of how the bayou looks to be before was straightened. Because that act of straightening the rivers is present everywhere, and I found that very terribly violent. So there's the representation of all the beautiful curves that the bayou used to have, and how it looks since the 1957, I think so. Also, there's some printed books that refer to some of the material we recorded for project into the cistern for the video that we'll see there as more like an atmosphere, because the projection just happened in the volume of the cistern, of the columns. So it's a selection of these 4 different places, which was the bayous in Louisiana. We went there because there was nothing so not primitive, but in the case of the nature, so impolluted and clean around here. So I was looking for that specific kind of environment to bring the story from the past into the video piece. And also we recorded here in the bayou in downtown. And so that's the chapters. There's a video of a fisherman. There's all the story about a place that was sunk in water for bad decisions in terms of infrastructure and construction. So it's also part of the exhibition, a series of prints and reproductions of the archive from the special collections of University of Houston Library, and bringing that as a fact, let's say. No, it's some of the images were inspiration for the sax that I made, which has songs and lyrics of songs from labor songs from the fields. So it's a combination that it's weaved together to bring the story and parts of the story here and there. No? Lifeblood. Well, titles are always challenging, and I had like several options. One of the options ended up being the title of the video, and the other one happened to be one of the lines that repeats in the video like a mantra in a way. But lifeblood, I found that word related to the bayous, actually. It says, slow waters, the lifeblood of the city. And it was about a book about Houston. So the choices were both together, slow waters, lifeblood, and then we ended up with one only line, yes. But it's related to the bayous, which are the blood of the city, yes, that brings life when it's clean and alive, yeah. Yeah, and that's why the script is so important in this video. I mean, telling a story, for me, I mean, which I love the stories, is like you have to be a storyteller. You can be obscure or very conceptual, and I wanted to mention the things as they have to. And in this case, I believe that it's really important that we put attention and listen carefully to the past. We have to learn and be good listeners in order to maintain our environment and to create more generous relations with the others and other species as well. Yeah. Today, one of the youngsters that were in the talk approached to me, and she said, like, how did you become an artist? I don't know how to do it. I mean, I have the internet, but I don't know what's next. So it was a challenging question because it's like, how do you do? I mean, what you do? No, I mean, so I told her that she needs to try and just to start doing things without fearing, because she said, like, I feel shy to doing things. So in my case, I started doing without knowing, as in a very instinctive, with a lot of instinct and none of knowledge, without any fear and with pleasure. So I think if you feel joy, whatever you are doing, is because you are in the right path. If you're uncomfortable, it's a sign that says, like, you need to correct. So, and a lot of work, and a lot of passion of the work, and a lot of care of the work of others. I think so, yeah. And work hard with passion, yeah. To talk about the team that I work with from Mexico, which for this particular project we travel with Marcela, Nolin, Lorenzo, Gerardo. So all of them, having them here for the production was very important, because sometimes I travel myself and then I return to Mexico and we make things happening over there. And in this case, bringing them, it was like the dream team to make things happen. So it's just a good combination, like the recipe for something that tastes delicious and you will never forget, is having the people you love to work with the new people you just met and you are collaborating with, and an older talent together next to an institution that helps to support a project and believes in your work, plus the patrons and people that loves art that support as well. So it's all that, and good luck. So yes, I think I'm very grateful for all of this combination that happens for this exhibition, and I looking forward for tomorrow opening. I'm very excited.